Everybody. Afternoon, everyone. Just for fun, quick surprise live mock draft right here on NFL Chaos with Jeremy. So here we go. We're going to share that. We're going to get right to it. Let's share screen and go into this draft. Okay. So now this is not going to be a chat kind of thing. This is simply going to be a let's do it. Let's just get the draft over with. Some of you are going to kill me and unsubscribe to this channel because you're so mad at my picks, and some of you might love my picks, but don't really do that. Don't take it that seriously. There's no reason to take it that seriously. It's just having some fun. You'll get a little know about the way I think. This is how I think. This is how I think we should do it. I think a little differently than everybody else. I'm not in the rush to get all the elite players in this year that we need to win a Super Bowl, okay? I believe in this rebuild. This is year 2 of a rebuild. A rebuild could typically take anywhere from 3 to 4 years until that year 5 really super make a contention. I'm hoping, obviously, we make the playoffs before that, but I'm talking about becoming a powerhouse team. So let's get started. So here we are in the draft. I did it fast so we don't have to wait too long. And we're already getting a trade offer. And Minnesota's offering us a 12 pick, their first round, a second round, and a third round. So their first, second, and third round for our 4th pick. Let's look at who's on the board. I'm looking on that board, and I'm seeing we already have Hutchinson and Thibodeau gone. Andrew Booth is gone, but there's a guy named Kyle Hamilton who's still up there. Now, I don't want to take away our opportunity to get an elite player, okay? So I can't trade that. I'm going to reject that. I'm going to make sure we get at least one elite player. And now the decision really is, do I take George Kafalaftis or do I take Kyle Hamilton? Now, I think that taking George is a little bit of a reach. I know that the Giants might grab him, and I'm not going to get him with the second pick. I know that's a possibility. If he's still there, I'm not going to take the next trade offer either. I'm going to take him, but I'm not going to reach with him for this pick. I'm going to go for Kyle Hamilton, and here's why I think Joe Douglas will do the same thing. People are saying that it's not a high-value position, that I can't do that. You can't take Kyle Hamilton. It's not a high-value position. It's a safety. I don't agree. I don't think that's the way Joe Douglas thinks, and I don't think that way either. I think he wants blue-chip impact guys. Kyle Hamilton is great in coverage. He can rush the quarterback. He can stuff the run. He's versatile. He's big. He's great in every way. He's potentially has the ceiling of an Ed Reed, Troy from Pittsburgh. I don't want to try to say his last name. The dream is Ronnie Lott, but he has that kind of ceiling, that kind of potential. He's generational. His tape is amazing, and I don't think we can ignore that. But now that we got Kyle Hamilton, and I defended that move, let's look at our 2 trade offers. For our pick 7, Washington wants to give away their 19th pick, their first pick, rounder for 23, and their 4th rounder for 21. I love that deal. I absolutely love it. So let's look at the next offer, though, before we jump to anything fast. Now, this is not as good an offer, okay? I don't like this because it's just a second-round pick right there. I love this first-round pick for next year. Already, we can add a 4th pick to next year's draft capital. We can add a first-rounder to next year, and we still get a first-rounder this year. Pick 19 will still get us a position of need. We could get the best linebacker. Apparently my friend John Post is always here with me. I may as well just bring him into the chat for now on. Bring him into the stream. John Post says, yes, absolutely. Take the Washington Redskins. And I agree. I take this deal in a heartbeat. So we're going to accept that trade. And we're going to jump down to 19 and see who's there. Now, there's another offer. We got 3 offers. So let's look who's still on the board. Derek Stingley is still on the board. Ikem Ikwano, position of need. Let me tell you something about Ikem Ikwano from NC State. He could play either guard or tackle. So here's a guy that we could slide immediately into the right guard position. He can also move to tackle later on if we need him or if there's an injury. We also have Nakobe Dean, who's still on the board. Okay, so we got the best linebackers still on the board. We also have an amazing cornerback and Ahmad Gardner. We have tons of options here. It goes all the way down 7-8 picks with a lot of great options. And now I'm looking at Eagles wanting us to just give a free, what is that, 4th round pick, okay, for this draft. And I don't lose much because I'm kind of tied. I kind of have these guys rated the same. We'll see if Joe Douglas does. The next offer drops me down to 25 and gives me a 57 for a 146. I don't like the Raven offer at all. So I'm just going to go right through that one. I'm going to just reject that one right off the bat. And Minnesota is absolutely, look, I love the 2nd and 3rd round pick. I love what they're offering except for one thing. It drops us down to 43 and takes the opportunity away to get an elite player. So I'm going to say no, and I'm going to reject that one. I'm going to take the Eagles trade. I want that 115th pick. We have a lot of holes, a lot of needs. I don't think it's a big deal for us to drop down to 21. Who are we going to lose? Are we going to lose Stingley? I'm okay with that. I can live with that. Are we going to lose Drake London? I could live with that. If we lose Nakobe Dean, I'll be a little bit disappointed, but there's going to be other great guys to pick if they take Nakobe Dean. So let's take that. Let's accept it. And let's see who came off the board. Nakobe Dean is still there. Ikawano is still there. Great talent and help for us. It looks like Ahmad Gardner Saucy is off the board. That stings a little bit. Dropping down to the 25th pick now. If we take Baltimore's offer, drops us down to 25 and no longer guarantees us one of those elite players. I only see a couple of elite guys left, so I'm a little hesitant and want to avoid that trade, as tempted as I am to take a 2nd round pick in next year's draft. Again, New Orleans makes an offer with a lot of draft picks, but I'm not going to take it because I'm not dropping down to 44. And Detroit, 4th round is not enough. I'm going to counter just for the hell of it and see if they'll give us their 2nd. Okay, that's more of a fair deal at this point when you look at the players left on the board and value in my mind. It's fairer for them to offer a 2nd round pick if they want to move up from 24 to 21. Look what we gave up to move up 6 or 7 spots last year. So I just don't think it was a reasonable offer from them. So this is going to be my counter. I'm going to propose that. Confirm. The trade was declined. Okay, let's go back to the simulator. Let's stop messing around. The real question is, who do I want to take right now? Who's left? And I'm going to go for Nakobe Dean. We need a linebacker desperately. This is a versatile guy. Nakobe Dean, he could stuff the box. He's good in coverage. He's a great all-around linebacker. I'm very happy taking him. So now we have what I believe to be, if we look, 2 elite players so far that we've taken. We've got Kyle Hamilton. We've got Nakobe Dean, 2 starters on defense. That changes the whole look of our defense. It gives CB Mosley a great partner in crime there. You got the speed, the guy who can cover sideline to sideline. You got the big bopper in Mosley. This is exactly what our defense needs. Can you imagine having these 2 lined up there, especially when we play the 4-2-5? And now we go in and look at the picks we have because we made that deal. We got some capital for next year, but we got 36, 39, 68, 109, 111, which and right to 115. We're going to have a lot of picks right there in the middle, which is nice. That's where Joe Douglas really shines. But right now we got to worry about 36. Pick 36. Nobody is making us any offers. When let's look who's there. We got Pickett, Willis. We don't care about quarterbacks. We have not picked an edge yet, and Myjaj Sanders is right there from Cincinnati. He's a very good edge. I'm not going to say I'm not tempted. There's also offensive guard Zion Johnson, who will probably be available with our next pick. It's definitely a position of need. That's going to be a tough decision. Brandon Smith from Penn State is not as doesn't give the temptation that he gave before, simply because we already have that. In Dean, we already took a linebacker. We're not going to double up so soon. I'm going to say we need to get a center. If an edge, if Joe Douglas likes Sanders, he makes the pick right here. I like him. I think he's good. He has great potential. I'm going to grab Sanders here. Not a very popular pick for a lot of people, but I think he's still in a top tier of guys, and I think that we lose an opportunity. Now we got some trade offers. So there may have been trade offers before. I don't care. We needed to take another guy right there. We needed to get our edge. I'm nervous about going through the draft without doing that. Now we have an offer to drop down to 67. I am automatically not going to take that regardless of what Jacksonville is offering. We could drop down to 52 and pick up an 86 for our 6th round. I don't like that one either, so I'm going to reject that. And here we go. Who do we have left? Here's our tough decision. Do we go with Zion Johnson? We got Isaiah Likely, who's more of a receiving tight end. We got Watermeyer, who's down there. All these guys are going to be gone the next time we pick. So this is a very, very big decision. Okay, this is the decision that's like really tests the GM. Do we go for the guard now? Do we take the guard? We need a right guard. There's nobody in this draft. I repeat that. There's no guards in free agency. There's nothing. I looked. GVR is listed as a top free agent, okay? And we know how we feel about GVR. So there's no one. We'll take a guard here. We don't have a guard, right? That's where we're left. We already put a lot into the defense. There's a lot of tight ends, deep draft for tight ends. I am going to go for Zion Johnson here. I'm going to take him. I know it's going to be a little scary. We're going to lose a lot of people on the board right now. We still haven't taken, let's see, we've taken a safety. We haven't taken a cornerback. So that's a little bit of a concern that we haven't taken a cornerback. Chicago's asking us to drop back one pick. The next year's for today's 157. I don't think there's a lot of value there. That's not enough. I would do it if they get offered their 3rd. So let's do that. Let's ask for their 3rd. I'm also going to take our 157 out of the picture. Okay, I'm not doing that either. I'll give them our 6th for next year if they want it. Let's propose that trade. And our trade was declined. All right, we hang up the phone and tell them where they can go. Let's take this off the board. Nobody needs to look at that anymore. Draw and post. And now let's look at pick 68 and who's up there. Oh, we have Jordan Battle slipped, and that is a no-brainer for me. Well, wait a second. We took Kyle Hamilton, so it is not a no-brainer. Martin Emerson from Mississippi State. I don't know a lot about him, but we desperately need at this point a cornerback. There's also Jake Ferguson. I don't know much about Ferguson, but Green Bean seems to like him. So do I grab the cornerback here or do I grab the tight end? They're both positions of need. I think there are more tight ends in free agency. There's also cornerbacks in free agency. I think that's why I tend to let these guys slip to the middle rounds or past our elite picks. Because if we're going to pick, we're definitely going to pick up guys in free agency. We have a ton of cap space. I don't think there's a lot of offensive guys out there as far as guards and things like that. I think there's going to always be wide receivers out there as well. There's tight ends out there. That's why I don't prioritize those so high in the draft, because there's more than one way to skin a cat. But I do think we need a young tight end. I think there are good cornerbacks in free agency. I think we may have already signed one by the time the draft comes. So I'm going to guess that even if we got Gesicki from Miami, we need a tight end that can block. I believe Ferguson is a very complete all-around tight end. So I'm going to take a shot, and I'm going to go for him. Okay, we took care of tight end. We might even go back to that later and double up on it, although I didn't take a lot of extra draft capital with trades this time around. So I don't know if we're really going to have an opportunity to do that because we're still filling needs. It comes back to us. There are no trade offers as of right now. There's a couple of guys I like on top. I like Brian Asamoah from Oklahoma. I like Vernon McKinley. We've already taken both those positions, though. I see a wide receiver right here, Chris Autumn-Bell. And I got to say, I really like taking a wide receiver somewhere up here, someone with some good attributes. Let's read a little notes. As a route runner, Autumn-Bell has some awareness of open zones at the second level. He's been shown to employ varying stride lengths heading into route breaks. I love that. He also manipulates pacing as a route runner to create displacement. Furthermore, Autumn-Bell has demonstrated hand swipes to create separation. He improved his releases from 2019 to 2020. His freestyle features are lightning quick feet. That's what we like to hear. Down the field, he can gather passes in stride. Love that. He throws impressive potential. He shows potential as a contested catcher. We like that. We thought we were getting that in Mims. I think we still can get that in Mims. I like the way this guy is being described. I'm going to go and grab him before it's too late. A game-changing wide receiver. Although we can wait in this draft with George Pickens, I don't think in real life George Pickens is going to slip as far as he does in the PFN. So I'm going to grab Chris Onenbell right now. Take care of our need for wide receiver. I think we get it. I think he's a contributor. He's not a starter right off the bat, but he's definitely someone we should expect to contribute to this team. As we come back to 111, 2 picks later, which is nice. We could double up on tight end. We could grab yet another linebacker. There are some people who like Tyreek Smith from Ohio State on the edge. I see Trey Berry sitting there from Boston College. Not bad at all. But you know what we haven't taken? We haven't taken a running back. And look at Rachaad White just sitting there from Arizona State. Do we grab him, or is it too early to grab a running back? That becomes the question. We have to think about that. I also like, and this is very unpopular, I like the idea of taking a defensive tackle. Obviously, I don't want to take a defensive tackle in the first round. In the second round, the Jets have made that mistake in the past. It's a ridiculous mistake to make. It's nothing they should ever consider doing again, or at least for a long time. It's like taking a running back in the first round. It's a luxury pick to take a defensive tackle. You don't take it when you're rebuilding. But now we are deep, into the third round. And I don't know about Rankins. I don't know about Foley. I don't know if they're part of the future. I think we have to start getting some defensive tackles in there. Travis Jones is highly regarded, great player. You can see from the notes aren't even out there yet, but I've seen some tape on him. I've looked at some of the defensive tackles. I'm one of the very few people that think we need one, and possibility. So we with the last pick. The other thing that can't be ignored is this guy. Let's highlight here. Running back Zonovan Knight from NC State. Okay? Hard to ignore Zonovan Knight. I think automatically becomes our RB2 after Michael Carter gives us a really good 1-2 punch. I think that's the bigger need. So as much as I would hate to see Travis Jones go off the board and lose the opportunity for him as a defensive tackle, I'm going to go back on what I was just saying, and I'm going to grab Zonovan Knight and shore up our future at running back. We're going to have a 1-2 punch for you with Zonovan Knight and Michael Carter. I don't think Zonovan Knight will be as good as Michael Carter, but I think he might be close, and it's going to give us a great 1-2 punch. Down to 115. That's the benefit of the trade we made before, because Travis Jones, the defensive tackle, is still on the board. I'm going to reject this trade because we don't need a million picks this draft. We need quality picks, and I'm afraid that if we go down 8 spots, we're going to lose the opportunity to get the best remaining defensive tackle. And I think by doing this, we now start to cover almost all of the needs that we had. The only thing I think I'm gambling on is, and what I'm saying is, I believe we'll already have picked up a solid cornerback in free agency. I don't think we need a big name CB1. I think we just need a quality cornerback that's good to play alongside Bryce Hall, and that's okay for year 2 of the rebuild. Maybe we go very early on a cornerback in year 3. Now, the weaknesses of this draft is we didn't get one of the premier edge guys, but I wasn't going to reach for George with that first pick, right? In a lot of drafts, and it's still very possible, depending on what happens the rest of this year, that we will have an opportunity to grab Thibodeau or Hutchinson, and those are our priorities. There's no trades, and there's no thinking. If one of those 2 guys slip to us with our first pick, wherever that first pick is, that's who we're taking. Make no mistake about it. Right now, I'm gambling very heavily on Carl Lawson coming back at full strength. But just to sum it up, there's a guy I love. I take him every draft when he's there around this time, and his name is Jeffrey Gunter. He's an absolute beast coming out of Coastal Carolina. And I think out of all the guys that after that top tier of edge rushers, I think Gunter has the best chance to be an impact player in the NFL. It's not impossible. Don't forget about Bryce Huff and what he's doing and potentially could become. Don't forget about John Franklin Myers. You can get an edge without it being a premier pick. So I'm going to go for Jeffrey Gunter. I like him. He's a beast. think he gets hidden away in Coastal Carolina. And now we come to pick 157. Let's see how many we got left. I believe that's our last one. This is our last pick. It's a bummer. I was hoping we'd get a trade offer that includes like a late pick. Let me see if I could trade down. Let me propose a trade with like Denver. Let's see if Denver will trade down with us and give us like a later pick. I'm going to propose a trade. I'm going to pick Denver next. I'm going to offer Denver our 157 for their 160. Oh, they're not a good candidate. Look at that. Oh, no. Here we go. And they're 242. Well, I may as well do 249. Okay. So I'm going to trade down 3 spots. I'm going to offer them. I'm going to ask for their 249 to trade down 3 spots and hope they take it. It was declined. And that's a bummer. I'm going to try again. I'm going to, let's see, who else is coming after us a little bit. Looks like Indianapolis might be a good candidate. So let's try Indianapolis. I'm going to offer our 157 for their 241. I could say 255, but in real life, somebody might take a kicker. So I'm feeling a little iffy about that. I'm going to go for 241. Propose the trade. I'm sorry, I got to ask for their 162. Otherwise, I'm a fool. And I'm going to propose that trade. And it was declined. I can't believe so many people are protecting that last pick. Let's see. Who else is left? Who goes after us? A little bit further back, maybe, that wants to come up. Let's try San Francisco. They are a friendly team. San Francisco has 2 picks at the end of the draft. What would they care? Let's ask for their 254, their 163. Let's offer our 157. Let's see if they'll do it. Declines, really? I am shocked right now. I can't believe it. We can't get anybody to round pick, even though we're letting them trade up. Maybe I need to go back a little bit further. So let's see where Kansas City is right now. We've swindled them before. They got nothing left. Cancel that. Let's try see what the Raiders have left. 171. It's a little further down than I wanted to trade to do it. I'm going to ask for their 228 in return for them to move up. We're going to propose it, confirm. It's been accepted. Awesome. Everybody's going to know exactly why I did that if you haven't figured it out already. And here we go. Resume draft. Okay, so we slipped down some spots. I know that's a little painful. You watch some guys go, but look who's still here on the board. Okay, we still have a cornerback in Kobe Bryant. We have Charleston Rambo, a wide receiver who I love just because of his name. Amaro Barno, an edge. We have, we have a few guys. We have, let's see, some other guys I know. Marquise Bell, a safety. James Mitchell, if we want another tight end. CJ Verdell from Oregon, if we want another running back, which obviously we don't. Gerard Wheeler, if we want a developmental center. I think I'm going to go for. I like value. I think we need a developmental offensive tackle, so we're going to take Myron Cunningham out of Arkansas. I'm going to grab that pick. Get another guy. Get another young offensive lineman. It's going to be a need someday. Everybody, trust me. Eagles like to trade. Oh, yeah, the Eagles do like to trade. And now we go for that pick. Why did I trade down? We traded down because I'm going to go into the special team section, kicker, and I'm going to grab rankings change. Andrew Mavis took over, but I like Cade York. I'm not giving up on that. I like Cade York because he makes clutch 50-yard plus field goals. Nothing wrong with him. And now we get Cade York, and that looks really good at the end of our draft because Cade York, you have to look at it this way. That is a starter That is a starter, an automatic starter that fills a need for our team. And we get him in the 7th round. That's why I like that trade. And that's why I pursued that trade. So how did we do? We get a generational safety in Kyle Hamilton. Automatic starter, plug him in, boom. It's going to make a difference on our defense. We get a starter in the Kobe Dean, game 1. He starts. Fast, cover, sideline to sideline, good pass defender, does everything. Great guy, spark plug guy, could be a real star. Myjai Sanders at edge is a little bit of a risk. He's not, he's not a risk because he doesn't have a high ceiling. He has the high ceiling. He's explosive. He's powerful. Puts a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback. He's probably Cincinnati's best defensive player, unless you want to argue Gardner. But the two of them, that is what makes Cincinnati win so many games. And I like him. I like his ceiling. I like what we can do with him. I think we got the right coaches in a rotational setting. I think he could be very good. Then we go and we get Zion Johnson, who I think is a possible starting right guard day 1. He might need a little bit of development. It's possible. He's a guy that we could be wrong about. I don't think so, though. When you watch Zion Johnson, look it up on YouTube, watch his tape. He pushes guys backwards. I love that. I don't want a guy that just when I'm thinking guard, I'm not thinking just how many quarterback pressures does he allow, how many sacks does he allow. You really have to look at his push. You'll have to look at his speed. Can he rotate? Can he go behind and run and then to the other side and lead a running play? Things like that. Zion Johnson, great athlete, does all that, very quick on his feet, very mobile, very strong. I like the pick. He might be our starting right guard for years to come. He's not going to be like AVT. He's not going to pancake people as much, but he'll be very versatile. He'll really complete our offensive line. 109, Chris Odom-Bell. You read, he has range. He could go up and get contested balls. He's quick off his feet, quick feet. That means that he can get open and create separation early, which so far right now is something Zach could really use. And he has great hands. So I like that. I like Chris Odom-Bell. We need to get rid of the drops. He's a guy who might contribute right away. Probably won't start, but will have a chance to start. He'll be battling it out with Mims and whoever they bring in if they re-sign Cole. Or possibly Elijah Moore will just stay on the outside. We'll see. Then we get Zonathan Knight. I'm a big NC State fan, so I watch a lot of their games. He's a great running back. Hits through this, goes through the tackles. He's not just an end run college running back where you get worried that it's only going to work in the NFL. No, Zonathan Knight can definitely go and do tackle runs. He can run right up the middle. He can run through the tackles. You get a guy like. The guard that we picked up, Zion Johnson. You put that with AVT. McGovern is actually a top 10 center, regardless of what people think. He's not amazing, but he's solid. And you have AVT, and you have Zion Johnson, and I'm sorry. You have I'm talking too fast. You have Zion Johnson, AVT at the guards. We get Becton and Fent by next year if we stay healthy with that offensive line. Zonathan Knight team with Michael Carter. I love it. He could be an instant contributor. You get Ty Johnson out of there. I don't know if Perrine will compete with Coleman or if they'll even keep Coleman, but I love the 1-2 punch in that. And then you get Travis Jones, who I think because of position slipped, like to be a 115 pick. He's a guy that can easily be a top 100 ranked guy in college football. I think we need to start building young and getting young guys, developmental guys at the defensive tackle position. I know we don't want to use high picks in that position, but we don't know what the future of Rankins is. We don't know if Foley's going to be around forever. They've been very disappointing this year. So it looks like we're getting strong on edge with guys coming back. If Vin Curry comes back, Ronnie Blair starting to contribute and get into the swing of things. Maybe we hold on to him. Carl Lawson comes back. We signed JFM. We need to make sure that we have help up the middle. So that's why we bring in. That's why we bring in a defensive tackle there. Coming down to 146, our pick is Jeffrey Gunter. He's a hit or miss kind of guy. He has a real ceiling, though, if his game translates to the NFL, and that's a big if. But if it does, we got ourselves a gem. Could be one of those steals that we talked about for a long time. He's a beast. He's super strong. He plays hard every play. He's got a lot of gas in the tank, which I love. And in a rotation, he's going to bring it every play. He might not be a guy you see a lot in the beginning of the season. He might be someone we see more often towards the end of the season. But year 2, hopefully he's competing for a solid spot in that rotation. He may even get it year 1. We'll see. And then we get a developmental offensive tackle in Myron Cunningham, played for a big program in Arkansas. And that's just throwing the darts. Maybe we get a starting tackle out of him. You never know. But certainly at worst, we get a reserve tackle who can come in, someone we could rely on and trust in the future to do a good enough, adequate job and be an adequate tackle in the NFL. Then we got at 228, we get our kicker. We finally problem. Cade York is a guy who played in the big program, lots of pressure, big games, kicks the ball, has made field goals over 50 yards in situations. Very reliable, high percentage kicker. Don't have to worry. Can he handle the pressure? He already does it in a very big program. Love the pick. And look at that. We walk out of the draft. We get that kind of draft haul. And the most beautiful part about it is we walk away with the Washington Redskins first-round pick. And the Washington Redskins are up and down kind of team. They're not a guaranteed team to go win 10, 11 games. Washington Redskins might only win a handful of games. It might end up being a top 15 pick. You never know. Certainly believable that it's a top 20 pick. We also pick up Washington's 4th-round pick. I have no problem doing that as well. We know JD might be able to get a good guy there. And we're not talking about a late 4th rounder. Again, we could be talking about a mid-4th-round pick. So that strengthens our draft for next year. I wanted a little bit for more middle-round picks for next year. We weren't really given that opportunity. But when you look at the haul that we brought in, when you look at the fact that we brought in a guy like Kyle Hamilton, which could be a generational talent, a Nakobe Dean, who could be a Pro Bowl linebacker, very believable, but more importantly, just fill that hole for us and give us exactly what we need at the position. We bring in an edge that gives us hope. Majai Sanders could end up being a very good center in this league to complement and play opposite of Carl Lawson. You bring in a guy a plug-in guard who might be able to play game 1, Zion Johnson, and develop into a very good offensive guard and solve a very big problem for our offense. And then right after him, we get Jake Ferguson. We get an all-around tight end, a guy who can block. That's key. A tight end who can block, who can also catch passes. I think we bring in a Gesicki. We bring in a guy, Schultzer from Dallas. We bring in a proven receiving tight end as well, and then we resolve that position once and for all. We bring in that wide receiver that we crave so much. He's not a big name that most people talk about, but he's a tall, lanky guy, great hands, great route runner, everything we need in the wide receiver. Kind of reminds me of the way we describe Mims, except route running, and quick off of the line of scrimmage, which is so important. He creates space, and that's what we want, but he can also get contested balls. And then we get a running back in Zonovan Knight, who I see automatically becomes our RB2 day 1, right behind Michael Carter. We go into every game as a 2-headed monster, and then we let everybody else fight it off for the 3rd spot. We bring in Travis Jones, a defensive tackle. So Foley's gone, Matakasu Foley, and Sheldon Rankins. If those guys are gone, I don't see him part of our long-term future. Travis Jones could very easily be as good as those guys. Not the potential of Sheldon Rankins that he had, but he could definitely come up and be another Fadokasi type, except better in this scheme, better in this system, help us stop the run. Myron Cunningham, developmental tackle. Again, we talked about that. Cade York, kicker. We resolve the kicker situation. So we resolve so much in this draft. If we do this draft resolves so many holes. Year 2 of the rebuild. We go into next year with 2 number 1 picks again. To whoever didn't work out, we get to look and evaluate another year, hopefully win some more games next year. But most importantly, we get 2 picks to fill more holes. Who didn't work out? What holes are still left on the team? We plugged a bunch of them, right? More about our team then, and we're prepared to go into the 23 draft with 2 first-round picks, an extra 4th-round pick, and knowing my guy, Joe Douglas, he'll figure out a way to get us something else. He'll trade somebody in the offseason or something like that. Something will happen where we'll end up with the second or something like that. We'll see who it is and how it works. Anyway, that is my second draft with the New York Jets. I'm going to do a draft with the perspective of the New York Giants. I'm also going to do a draft where I do one round, a first round with no trades for every team. So we're going to go through a first round mock. I might have my friend Pure Adrenaline, John Post, help me with that one because he knows a lot about the team needs in specialty positions. He knows who everybody's wide receivers and running backs are, so he'll be able to help me from that perspective. And hopefully Tom Bon Jovi will be in the chat again. He always comes late because he sees that I'm on. This is what happens. He sees that I'm on, but he has to get off his horse, right? He's Bon Jovi. He gets off his horse. He comes riding in on a steel horse. He's got to get off the horse. He's got to take care of the kid. He's got this little kid. Likes to do things, likes to touch things, likes to stick his finger in electrical outlets. So he's got to secure the kid, right? The kid's got to be secured. Tom just can't sit there and jump online and forget about a little kid who's crawling around the house. I don't know. He may even be walking by now, right? They get themselves in trouble. I pick up fork and stick in electrical outlet. It happens. So, you can't just expect them to jump online and stop paying attention to what's going on. So Tom will do that, and he'll join a little bit late because of that. It's a steel horse? Okay. That's why I always let Frankie do it on the show we used to do together. I always let Frankie do Tom Bon Jovi's intro because I could never get it right. But anyway, I'm going to be coming back. You see that? I know kids. Tom, I work in an elementary school, man. The only thing that's going to change is he'll stop touching electrical outlets, but he's going to start wanting to what's that? Ask you like a million. Well, that may have even started already too. But what do my 5-year-olds do? Actually, the 5-year-olds are just really cute for the most part. For the most part, they're just really cute. You're just going to have to do a lot of entertaining because they always want to be entertained until nap time. So that is the draft. Like I said, I'll be back with a full first round. I know John Post will help me with that one for the entire NFL. I'm going to do one from the Giants perspective. I'm going to bring in a friend, Zach Nash of mine, who lives in the Bay Area, big 49ers fan, and he's going to do a 49ers draft from the perspective of the 49ers. Maybe John will even help me get Payo Time in here. Dream come true to help me do a Rams draft. Payo Time, if you don't know about him, is an amazing, amazing YouTuber. He's the Rams guy. There's no one else you go to. There's no one else you need. If you're into the Rams or want to know about their fans and their perspective, Payo Time is where you go. You go to Payo Time. He's a lot of fun. Love his watch parties. Really good stuff. I'll have other people from other teams join me as well to help with those team drafts. I want to go through a lot of them, so I will. Again, this was a lot of fun. I hope that I would be perfectly happy with this draft. I don't know if you would be happy. John, what do you think? Tom, what do you think of that draft? What do you think if we ended up walking away with this draft? Hamilton, Nakobe Dean, Majai Sanders, Zion Johnson at guard, Jake Ferguson, tight end, Chris Autumn-Bell, wide receiver, Zonovan Knight, running back, Travis Jones, defensive tackle, Jeffrey Gunter, potential beast edge that's going to slip far in the draft, Myron Cunningham, offensive tackle, developmental guy for the future. We solve our kicking problems with Cade York, and we walk away with Washington's first-round pick in 23 and their fourth-round pick. What do you guys think? Are we happy with that draft? I bet your son is a good kid, man. I can tell from the pictures. You could look at a kid and know that's a good kid. That kid's going to make a good human being. And with a dad like you, how could he not be? Who did you make the first trade with? Let me highlight that. So we traded with the Eagles. The Eagles, we traded. Oh, there was one before that. So we traded down to 19, and then we traded down to 21. I don't know if it's going to show us that initial trade. I don't know how to make it do that. But there was an initial trade before that. And we ended up getting like we got our first round pick. So it must have been Washington. Washington was our first pick. So we dropped down to 19 with Washington. We gave them our 7, but we got their first round pick and their fourth round pick. of next year, and they also gave us their 58th pick for this year, which is why we were able to get Ferguson right there. So we were start at 68. We were still able to, we had that 68th pick. We were able to grab one of the top tier tight ends. You would have went with George Kalifikas at 4, but I understand. Yeah, it's tough because it's reaching. It's reaching to go for George at 4 because you lose Kyle Hamilton. I think that there is definitely a difference between George Karlaftis and all the other edges that come after him. But I don't think he's quite with the other two. I don't think he's with Hutchinson and Thibodeau. So there's like a little bit more of a chance of him being a disappointment or being a bust. That, it's a little bit scary for me. But yeah, I agree that I think Dean is a beast. I'm glad that you're pleased with it, Tom. I wouldn't want to upset you. You're one of my most important followers. So, yeah, I think it's an okay draft. I've had better, honestly. There are drafts where I've walked away with Thibodeau, and it could happen, guys. It could happen. You don't know. You never know for sure. Detroit might go for a quarterback. You just don't know. They might not value the edge right away from where they are. Yeah, but we want to lose Karlaftis to the Giants. Yeah, no, that's the problem. That's the problem. We lose them to the Giants, or we trade down and lose them for good, which is why I'm willing to trade down. That was why I traded that 7. Because even if George is still there, if George is there, I take him, and I said that. If George is there, I take him. If I lose him to the Giants, I take a trade. I get a first-round pick next year, brother. I mean, we could live with Carl Lawson coming back, JFM, right? We got Bryce Huff is coming back from injury. Ronnie Blair, right? Maybe Vin Curry comes back. We survive one more year with that situation. And then in 2023, we go for, if we didn't in free agency sign anybody like a cornerback, then we can go for a young elite cornerback. We can go for a young elite edge guy, and we can fill those holes. Remember, this is a longer term rebuild. We're not going to fill every position with premier guys. We just have to make sure we get premier blue chip guys, right? So if we get that at safety and we get that at linebacker, that's okay. We'll get a premier cornerback maybe in free agency or next year. We'll get an edge next year. That's why I set it up that we have 2 first-round picks. So, I mean, I know people say Thibodeau takes plays off, so that is a little bit of a concern, but I still think you got to take him if he's there. I've wanted Hutchinson from the beginning. Hutchinson was my number 1 guy way before they changed the rankings. They had Hutchinson ranked at like number 11, 12 just a few weeks ago before they made all these changes to the rankings. And you could see me in my old drafts. I'd send him to Green Bean. Hutchinson all the way. He's my guy. He's got the engine. He's got the motor. He's never going to stop. He's definitely my guy. But I agree with you that Thibodeau, that's why I like Hutchinson better than Thibodeau, but I still got to like Thibodeau number 2. One thing I love about George the Greek, that's what I call him, George the Greek, is that he is very raw. He hasn't played football as long. He has very little experience. He's pure raw talent. And I believe that we have the perfect coaching staff for that kind of guy. Hey, guys, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to end the broadcast. I'm actually working on some new intros. I did an intro for my watch football party that I want to play, and I want to create an intro to these kind of things through my live streams. So I've got to get to work. It's taking a lot of time building this channel up. Hopefully one day it'll be worth it. And instead of just the 2 of you, we'll have 100 people in here. So take care. Have a great day. Everybody that's watching the replay, have a great day. Please like the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Remember, if you're a fan of another team, I'm going to do other teams. I do all NFL. The Jets are my strength. As I build up the channel, I'm going to have more and more guests, and we're going to cover more and more of the league. My watch parties are an NFL Red Zone late afternoon Sunday thing, so we cover other teams. We don't just do the Jets here, but obviously when you hear me talk, you're going to hear a lot of Jets references because I am a Jets fan. Take care and have a great day.